All right, I've already reminded you of future meetings. So, old business, the district reconfiguration.
We'll start with Kelly. We'll start with construction. We have 4 teams. Just want to remind people that coming to the end of that process because a couple months we'll be moving. It's hard to believe. But wanted to talk through the construction. You had change order or?
You want me to go to that, or you want to do this one first?
No, I don't want to do this one first. You do that.
I'll go to construction.
I was giving you a segue. I was serving you up.
All right, I'll come to construction then. This is just a quick update, no photos tonight. Everything's going well. We had a construction meeting Tuesday. Have one change order for tonight and called out RFP 16 for you there. It is a change in some flooring, a design in the lobby, an RHS logo, and then we also, in Corridor 124, which is outside of the renovated classrooms, we ask, this is funding some of that hallway. We had a hallway that was really coming up bad, and instead of tearing tile out of 2 of those renovated classrooms, the tile's in great shape. It was part of the contract, but we wanted to shift that, leave that tile there and finish the hallway off. So this is a expenditure to do those things. So the change order number 6 is what I'm asking you to approve. It's an expense of $2,405. As I've mentioned before, it doesn't change the contract amount. We had a contingency built into the contract, and so it would be a deduction off of that. The remainder of that contingency is $24,145.91. So that would be the recommendation tonight.
Okay, other comments or questions? Entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion to approve change order number 6.
I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
I'll remind you that we do have some other RFPs that are out that are not resolved. Some are credits. I've mentioned, just posted some of those that will be in the positive for us, as well as some that we know will be expenses. But we feel like as we're drawing closer to the end, I'll remind you the contract, substantial completion is June 30th in the contract, and feel like we're on pace for that. This is just an update on the expenses and what we've paid out to date, and so we've paid out about 76% of the contract. Any questions?
How did the project over spring break with the drainage at the top of the driveway, how did that all finish up?
All finished. If you drove by in the rain the week after that, you noticed there wasn't a pond anymore. Really appreciate the city participating in that. They picked up some of the cost on that because they did not have drainage at all. Storm lines, there's not any on Cedar Street, so we worked together on that one. And so that's really appreciative of Mr. Hargis and his crews, because they jumped in and got it done and didn't impact parent or student traffic at all that next week. So worked out really well.
Partners.
Just an update on the transitions. The administrative team met on the 4th. We've been backing up from that. We have been working to finalize what we thought were numbers for the high school, middle school, junior high school, and provided updates on class sizes and things of that sort based upon projections that we've historically done. We spent an entire day as administrative staff going through the master schedules, looking at core areas, and then getting into the specials area or exploratory areas, art, music, PE, and then other exploratories at the middle school. It took more than a day to do that initially, and then we rolled into a second day with the middle school and worked out the exploratory rotation. Our goal has been to not add additional staff members, but be able to identify those staff members that have to move because the grade levels are moving as a baseline. So we have been able to realize some efficiencies through retirements on some folks and not replacing certain teachers and programs, and yet there will be some teachers that we identified that will be moving between buildings. We knew that. So our goal was to finalize that. We did that over a 2-day period, and then the administrative team meeting that involved all of them in lieu of our regular monthly meeting. We brought everybody together so that the assistants and the directors of transportation, maintenance, food service, everybody could hear exactly what it was that we were going to do. And from that meeting, we identified individual teachers that we needed to talk to within a confine of a couple days to make sure everybody heard the same information from the people that the principals that were receiving those staff members in the transition, so that the communication was done at the same time. No more speculation, no more worry about who was going where. So we completed that process last week by Thursday, and I've identified all those and have talked through. The other thing that we've done is the actual move itself. When the teachers that are on the move to have their boxes packed, we've ordered pallets, shrink wrap. Those textbooks have been identified that are going to need to be moved, and Mr. Moreland has secured pallets for each of those buildings, and each building knows what date that's to occur by the end of May. The other part of that is we are going to hire 6 recent graduates, seniors this year, that need a little bit of work in the summer, and 1 staff member to coordinate that. And they'll use pallet jack in one of our trucks and be able to coordinate the move as it occurs. Obviously, you know that we've got furniture that's moving between buildings, and principals have worked really well to coordinate how that's going to occur. The whole goal is that we've got the same number of kids. They're just moving, so we don't need any more teachers. My simplistic mind, that's where I was from the beginning. And we have furniture, so it needs to move, but there are other things that obviously will have to occur. So the communication plan to that was in place, and now the focus will go back also to those parents and the students that are coming to those different buildings, particularly middle school. They're receiving 3rd and 4th grade students, and then 7th grade and 8th grade building at junior high will be completely new. So we're still sticking with that. So the transition, as far as communication to staff, the building of the schedules, we started 2 years ago with mock schedules, if you recall, to try to figure that out, was completed in the last week. And it was a huge task. So will there be bumps in that? Will there be hiccups in that? We anticipate probably so, but we need to move that as far as we could. And so May 24th is the date that the teachers are to be packed. Last day of school is the 19th, and then we'll kind of talk about this again at the end of the school year celebration breakfast that we have, and then we'll be celebrating this move about 55 days later than that when we start school. 55 working days, that is. So here we are. You know, if you were to look at the graph, the arrow is moving over as far to the right as it possibly can, and what we thought was a long way off is no longer. So be happy to answer any questions. Kudos to the administrative team. I'll tell you, the junior high, middle school, high school, Mr. Duncan got sucked into a meeting. He was just walking down the hall innocently, and we brought him into the meeting, and he had to stay all day.
Bring a cool head in.
He's an adversarial person, you know. He just wants to argue about everything. Just kidding.
You were Switzerland.
And then we brought in the elementary principals the next day, and so, you know, everybody it was working together to make that happen. So I appreciate that very much. As far as 7th grade activities, there's really nothing to report there other than the fact that we're still hiring coaches, and those are, you know, equipment's been ordered, and Kathy's really done a good job of making sure we're ready to go there. I had somebody ask me in the hallway the other day as I was passing through, said, "So is it true we're starting 7th grade sports next year?"
Yes.
Oh, oh, do they not know?
Where'd you hear that? Well, you don't say you smile, and you explain the whole thing to them. Okay, I didn't say, are you serious?
But you were tempted.
No,
Yeah.
no, the inner voice says mature. So anyway, I explained to them what we were doing and what sports we were doing and those kind of things. So not expanding, we're just doing the same thing. Only at 7th grade. The early childhood update, hope you know that kindergarten registration is here next week. Mark Twain Monday, Truman Tuesday, Wyman Wednesday, on purpose. We're excited to have them here at RTC. Mr. Fridley had presented that to the board at a previous meeting, but we've got significant response, and we look forward to having the kids here in the building, and we'll see how that works. Kudos to them for trying something a little bit different. As far as the early childhood program, from Mrs. Brown's perspective, classroom materials, she's in the midst of ordering the materials that we need to have functional classrooms for program interviews for early childhood special education and pre-K pups are scheduled now. We've been involved in some of those and continuing to move through those. Laura, is still continuing family recruiting. As a matter of fact, we've, from PAT perspective, which is kind of interfaced with the pups, we've had 160 families and 1,100 home visits, so today. So she's continuing to expend a lot of energy to make this thing happen, so I'm very proud of that. Happy to answer any questions, so we're excited to welcome our new Bulldogs next week as well. So.
Great.
Okay.